Hello, Jasmine in Manila in the Philippines. Matthew here with freeprescriptionlenses.com, and I'm going to show you how I cut prescription lenses for your Rayban 2132 new Wayfarer color 902, which is the classic tortoise, and the 52 eye size, which just happens to be the same size that I wear. So you take everything out of its original packaging. This is your Italian leather Rayban case, your Rayban frame, and your Rayban cleaning cloth. So I'm going to take out your original heavy glass lenses that would shatter if you drop it on the ground, and I'm going to install unbreakable lenses with your prescription. So I'm going to put your Italian frame into my Italian Santanelli. This is the LE1000 patternless edger, and the stylus is going to pop up and trace the shape of the right lens, then it's going to move over and trace the left. Here at freeprescriptionlenses.com, where everyone loves a bargain and no one is disappointed with quality. You buy a genuine, authentic Rayban frame, and you will receive free single vision clear prescription lenses or non-prescription fashion lenses. But in your case, these are prescription, and the only thing you're going to pay is the upgrade to the anti-glare coating. So I'm going to put in your pupillary distance now, which is 60.5. These are a polycarbonate lens being cut on the soft cycle because of the anti-glare coating, and they're being cut for a plastic frame. So let's go ahead and begin. Your right eye is minus 475, minus 1 at 170. So I'm going to spin the axis wheel of my Marco 101 lensometer to 170. Spin the power drum. Actually, let me check one thing. Put the power drum on minus 475. Put the lens in, rotate it until the sphere power comes in clearly, and I've identified your optical center. Check your astigmatism correction. That looks good, and I'll explain all that in a little bit. But for now, I just want to put 3 red dots on your lenses. And they're too light for you to see, so I'm going to take my pen and darken them. 1, 2, and 3, and this is the right lens. Let me do the same thing now for the left. Minus 5 1/4, minus 75 at 30. Put the axis wheel on 30, put the power drum at minus 5 1/4, and get everything lined up perfectly. And we are good to go. Let me darken these dots. 1, 2, and 3. So this is what's going to hold your lens in place while it is cutting. So I've got a little double-sided adhesive sticker that I'm going to attach to your lenses, and there we go. Let me do the same thing for the left. And your anti-glare coating has a hydrophobic coating, which means that if you're ever in the rain, which it does rain in the Philippines, the rain will bead right off your lenses. Plus, you will never have to use a liquid to clean your lenses again, just the Rayban cloth. And of course, I'm going to include a cleaning cloth of my own with my brand on there. Of course, you're going to get a pink one, Jasmine. And I'm going to send these to the Philippines, but I'm going to put one more little adhesive sticker on the back while this is cutting. So I'm going to put your lens into the chuck and hit start. And the first thing that's going to happen, these calipers are going to come down, and it's going to trace the right side of your frame onto the lens to make sure this lens is large enough to fit into the frame. It's going to start on the rear surface, the concave or back surface closest to your eyelashes. Then it's going to move forward and trace the convex side of the lens, which is the front surface, all the while measuring the thickness of the lens to know exactly where to place the bevel so it'll stay inside the frame. The actual cutting wheel is down here on the bottom left. It's that lighter color wheel that's going to act like a heavy grit sandpaper that's going to grind away your unbreakable polycarb material. And this wheel in the center, that little channel, that valley, that's what's going to put the bevel onto the lens so it stays inside the frame. I will have to close the door in a minute, but just for now, I just want you to see as your prescription lens touches down on the cutting wheel. So your lenses, there was 3 main lens materials: glass, plastic, and polycarb. Glass has gone by the way of the dinosaur with the exception of a few sunglass lenses, but most people don't like it due to the weight and the safety factor. If this lens ever cracks while you're wearing, if you get hit with a rock or a baseball or anything, your eye will be sliced wide open and will never be healed. So, oops, just got a text, hang on. Oop. Okay, got that. By the way, this should take about 15 minutes. It's now 7:40 on Wednesday, July 16th, and 78 degrees in my hometown of Durham, North Carolina, at least according to my Samsung Gear 2 watch. So plastic is the most common lens material. Your lenses are made out of polycarb. Polycarb, and don't worry, that's not the thickness of your lens. Your lens is like a bowl. It's thin in the center and thicker at the edges. But polycarb is 40% thinner and lighter than regular plastic. Your lenses are unbreakable. They are bulletproof up to 22 caliber and have both UVA and UVB protection included. We know what the sun's harmful ultraviolet rays can do to your skin, and you get your own personal sun in the Philippines. That thing's going to follow you around. Well, you have permanent sunscreen for your eyes now. Unlike the lotions, creams, and sprays you have to reapply every couple hours, this will never be reapplied. This is permanent and will last you forever. So you also had, the only thing you paid for is $30 for the anti-glare coating. That is 3 features in and of itself. It's an anti-glare coating which eliminates glare when driving at night, particularly driving at night in the rain, but from street lights, stoplights, computer screens, overhead, fluorescent lights, and all the above. The second feature, it's a reflection-free lens. People won't be looking at their reflection when they look in your glasses, or if someone, it makes for better eye contact, and if someone takes a picture with a flash, you don't see the flash lit up in the lens, you see just your eyes. And then the third feature that I like, which is the practical side, it comes with the best scratch protection they put on any lens. Your anti-glare coating takes 24 hours to apply, and it's applied in $1 million machine, so they put the best scratch coating they can to protect that investment. If you notice, your lens is completely flat now, just like a nickel, which is a 5-cent currency here in America. I could have taken it out and set it on the counter and it would have stood up by its own. If you notice, there's water running in the background, but the lens is cutting dry. That's just to collect dust where plastic and high index cuts wet. Now there are 2 water jets, 1 and 2, that are going to kick in here during the last 20 seconds of the cutting cycle. It's only to wash away any optical debris such as this that you see on the edge of your lens, which is just essentially optical sawdust, which is left over from the cutting cycle. Now those water jets have kicked in and it's going to wash everything away. So in the last 20 seconds of the cycle, as soon as this is done, I'll pull the lens out. We'll see if it fits first time around. The 52 is usually a piece of cake. It's the easiest lens to cut for. The 55, this frame comes in 2 sizes, the 55 and the 52. The 55 just has a much deeper bevel, and it always has to take it down a little bit more. The 52 seems to cut right from the very first time. So I will take your lens out, and due to the anti-glare coating, I'm going to dry your lens off so it is not slippery, because it's rather embarrassing when I drop a lens on live TV. It happened once in my life, so I'm going to make sure it never happens again. But you still have some rough edges left over from the cutting cycle. So I'm going to use my hand stone, which is completely flat. I can put my finger on it while it's running. My finger gets warm due to the friction, but that friction allows me to smooth out any rough edges. In fact, it allows me to melt them. This white powdery substance you see I'm scraping off is called Schwarf. May the Schwarf be with you. If you're a Mel Brooks fan, that is. And I do this so much that I've worn a V-shaped bevel into my thumbnail. My friends call it my occupational thumbnail. And once it's all off your lens, and you see it all on the counter here, I collect it neatly into one pile, and then I wipe it on the floor. And this is where I say, kids, stay in school. I went to school for years to learn how to make a mess like this. So kids, if you want to grow up and make a mess like me, you gotta stay in school. So in order to pop your lenses in, I'm going to tuck them in at the outside corner, and using my thumbs I press down at the nose and it snaps in perfectly. So let me flip this over to the left side and hit start. And just like before, the caliper is going to come down, as always tracing the concave side of the lens first, the rear surface closest to your eyelashes, and then it will trace the convex side of the lens, which sits away from the face. So this is your lens. Let me pop that back out. You can see how it ended up being much, much thinner. You will not have a lens that thick. In fact, it does not even protrude outside of the frame. Nothing. You got nothing there. See that? The other thing about your lenses is it's an aspheric lens. Aspheric just means it's a flatter curvature. You don't get that ugly fishbowl appearance you get from the really cheap lenses. When you buy glasses online, people will charge you for the plastic lenses. Then if you want the thinner, lighter weight, unbreakable polycarb, they charge you an upgrade fee for that. And then if you want an aspheric lens, they charge you again. So this is someone else's third tier, very expensive lens. You get that for free when you buy lenses from me, when you buy the frames from me. That's where I start, and I can go up from there all the way up to a 174 high index. So I took the block off since that's no longer needed. I'm going to take this blue sticker off and stick that on the counter for now. I'm going to leave that red dot on there. And in fact, I'm going to read the prescription off of there. I'm going to spin the axis wheel back to 170 and verify the prescription is cut perfectly. I'm actually getting a minus 475. If you can see that, 4, 4 1/4, 450, 475, 5. So that's one tick mark before 5. You have one diopter of astigmatism. We end up with 575. Now the way your prescription works, you've heard of ounces, gallons, and pounds, where the unit of measurement in the optical field is called a diopter. And it's in quarter increments starting at 0, going up from there, 0.25, 0.50, 0.75, 1, and so on. Let's see, 4 is 16. You have 19 steps of correction. Your right eye reads minus 475, minus 1 at 170. Your left eye is minus 5 1/4, minus 75 at 30. So without your glasses on, things are much, much, much too large in real life. So when you put your lenses on, this will minify down to the correct size. And you need 19 steps of correction, so you're on the 19th rung of a ladder. Now this first number makes everything the correct size. This second number takes away fuzzy edges. Think of it as the fine-tune knob. That's your astigmatism. And there is a stigma over the word astigmatism. It just means shape. That is it. Don't freak out. It's like saying someone has straight hair, someone else has curly hair. That is it. This number gets everything the correct size. Astigmatism is what makes everything blurry. So 6s and 8s and the letters P and F look alike. So you need an additional 4 steps of correction. Essentially you have a second curve. The first curve is 475. Your second curve going this way is an additional 1. So a window glass is straight, and that's no power when everything is straight. Once you start getting curvatures in lenses, that is the matching curvature of your eye. Your eye is not completely round. This last number, 170, remember this is a fine-tune knob, so we're going to turn that knob to 170. If the top of this card was 0 and the other side was 180, with 90 being in the center in a circle, we would turn that knob from 0 to 90 all the way to 170 to make everything clear. Now your right eye reads minus 5 1/4, minus 75 at 30. So 5 1/4, let's say 5 times 4 is 20. You're on the 21st rung of a ladder. And then you need another 3 steps for your astigmatism correction. And we're going to turn that knob from 0 to 30. These first two numbers are real values. The second number is arbitrary. It can be the last number could be anywhere from 0 to 180. So don't worry too much about this number. And these are the real numbers that we should be concerned about. Actually, you shouldn't be concerned. I should be concerned that they're cut perfectly. So again, this frame sells for $130 for the month of July. Come August 1st, Rayban will be increasing their prices. And you just paid the extra. Of course, your lenses are free with the frame, and you pay $30 for the anti-glare coating. Transition adds $40 should you have wanted it. I'm not telling you, you didn't want it, but anyone else out there watching the video may want to know. So with these water jets running, that means it's in the last cycle. Pretty soon it'll stop, which is now, and I'll take your lens out and we'll see if it fits. Draw your lens off, back to the handstone, back to the safety bevel. Safety because it's just smoothing out any rough edges. Of course, these aren't even going to protrude out of your frame, but it's just force of habit. It's something we do. And I'm just going to, that's the nice thing about being a one-man operation. I control every aspect of every pair of lenses that gets shipped. So again, we collect that on the counter and wipe it on the floor. Whee! That never gets old. Never gets old. So, tuck it in at the outside corner. Using my thumbs, I press down at the nose. It snaps in perfectly. I'm going to take this block off. It is no longer needed. Pull that sticker off too. Pull the blue sticker off the back side, stick those two together, and then throw those away. and I'm going to dry your lens off to get all the moisture off of it so I can read the prescription a little bit better. I'm going to spin the axis wheel back to 30. So let's spin that to 30. Put your lens in, and we're reading -5 1/4, and we're final power of -6. So if someone owed you $5.25 and then they borrowed another 75 cents, they would owe you $6. We're at 6 diopters, so that is the final power. Your pupillary distance is 60.5, so I'm going to hold these dots up to the card. I'm going to place the 0 on my PD stick on your right lens. Actually, that's inches. Let me flip that over and use the millimeters. And I'm getting 60.5. Hopefully my GoPro camera is good enough to show you that. So that is cut perfectly. Now the last two things I want to do before I ship to you is, for one, clean all the dots off your lenses, and then get the frame in standard alignment. Now here in America, 99% of all optical shops will do free adjustments if you ask them. So if you get these and they're too loose or they're too tight or one side is higher than the other, because 80% of people have one ear that's higher than the other. So that's why all glasses need to be adjusted. And I'm no different. When I take mine off and I set mine on the counter, they are going to wobble because my right ear is lower than my left ear. So I place yours on the counter, I press down with both thumbs, there is no wobble. I flip them over, press down, there is no wobble. I check to make sure that the temples overlap perfectly and there's the same amount of tension on each side, and there is. So that's that. If anyone has any questions about what I can and can't do, although you know there's nothing I can't do with a pair of lenses, well, that's fine. Email me at freeprescriptionlenses@gmail.com. Jasmine in Manila, Philippines. I hope you enjoyed watching me as I made your prescription Ray-Bans, and everyone else got the chance to see how I bring that love and feeling back to glasses. Thank you.